of the best weeks of fall foliage on the East Coast, and we're really concentrating on just getting you into something a little bit different here. So some different things. So you'll look here, and there's also a little map on the back of the brochure as well. And you will see that we're flying into Boston. We'll do, of course, a motor coach transfer to the airport in Minneapolis and then fly into Boston. We're going to be, on this itinerary, there's only one time that we're in the same hotel for 2 nights. Because we really want you to see some things and not backtrack and going over some of the same things. So we're kind of doing a circle area. In Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, it is New Hampshire. It's just lovely. It really is nice. The days are not long on the motor coach because we're doing different things and we're keeping moving in a circle. So it works out really pretty well. So, of course, we're going to be flying into Boston, and our accommodations tonight, we'll have a lovely welcome dinner, and our accommodations tonight are at a lovely DoubleTree Hotel in Boston, and it's really quite nice. It's very well appointed, a lovely hotel, and just great as we enjoy our first night, and we'll be enjoying dinner at a lovely local restaurant. So then we're going to start out heading toward Newport, Rhode Island. And we're taking what is known as the famed 10-mile drive. And this was a drive that those coming from Boston and even New York would come into Newport because they had a lovely coastal location with wonderful breezes that would blow across, so they would escape the heat of the summer in the cities of Boston and New York, and these very, very wealthy people from at the turn of the century, of the 19th century, in the late 1800s, came down and built what was called cottages. And these cottages were often 50, 60 rooms, small. But the drive along here is just spectacular, and so we'll take this drive, and there are lots of little places to pull in and pull over. A lot of the gated communities along here made sure that the riffraff don't come in to their areas, but it's absolutely beautiful, and we're driving right along the coast. So it's a really quite a beautiful drive, and as we get closer into Newport, peeking over the road are some of the chimneys of some of these absolutely gorgeous homes. So it's really quite nice. I guess I should call them, of course, the cottages. So you'll have a chance to see a few of them. Oh, maybe here would be one small little cottage that they would use for maybe 6 weeks during the summertime, and would bring their whole entourage. And this was the time that, it was really the same era as the Downton Abbey, with the upstairs, downstairs, and all of that was going on, because they would bring their maids and all their big fabulous trunks and all of that. It's just absolutely quite a unique story, and just amazing. Some of these homes were absolutely stunning, but of course this would be the Breakers. And the Breakers is the Vanderbilt home, and this, of course, is still in the Vanderbilts. There was Vanderbilts that lived here until just a few years ago, and they lived on the third floor. No one was allowed up there, but because plumbing was getting difficult for them, and really the living conditions were not all that great, and they were kind of slowly moved out because the home was given to the Preservation Society on this particular one of the Vanderbilt homes. But this Breakers is absolutely stunning. And of course what you're seeing inside is what it was, and it was for the family, but the family that was allowed to live here didn't use these rooms. So it's kind of a sad but true story. This is absolutely stunning. Things came from all over the world. Cornelius Vanderbilt built this home, and he actually only lived in it about 3 years, or lived here only for 3 years. He died at 55 of a cerebral hemorrhage. So his family then continued on coming, because of course here is where they would entertain all of the rich and famous people during the summers for 6 weeks. So it is absolutely stunning. And they do give you a little audio set that you listen to, and in each room you push a button and you can hear the description of that room. So people go at their own pace. And there are other buttons that you can push when you get in a room, and maybe you go to 25 instead of going to the next room, and it will tell you stories that are maybe made maybe by some of the servants that had lived there, and stories of the children that were there, or maybe certain things that they had done and entertaining that they had done. But they have a beautiful loggia on the back of the house that is absolutely stunning, that is just really amazing. Views over the Atlantic. It's absolutely gorgeous. But this is really a premium experience. And of course, you know, some of the other families that built, like the Biltmore and that down in Asheville, and that's still in the Vanderbilt family. So, but these were the castles of America. So another way to see some of these beautiful things are getting on one of these schooners. And so we're going to do that and get out and into Newport Harbor and go into Narragansett Bay and enjoy the view of the beautiful bridge, the Narragansett Bridge. But you'll get a chance then to see from the other side some of these beautiful, beautiful homes that have the frontage on the water. It's just absolutely stunning. And there's beautiful, you come in to Newport, driving over this beautiful bridge, and it's just really a stunning little village. It's just a lot of fun. So then we're moving on, because we want to show you more of New England. And a fun way to do this is the Valley Railroad Company has some of these old steam engines. And this will give you a chance to get on the Essex steam train and ride through a beautiful part of the country that you can't see any other way. And it is just absolutely stunning. And so you ride in some of these old train cars and kind of experience things the way that they did in the past. So it's really quite a beautiful way to see some of the fall color. It's just stunning. Well, there's a small little riverboat called the Becky Thatcher, and you'll get out on the riverboat and enjoy some views along this part of Massachusetts in Lenox. It's just a beautiful, beautiful area. And this is an area in the Berkshires that is just stunning. It's a lovely opportunity to get out. And we'll be staying at a Hampton Inn here just to enjoy some of these lovely facilities here. And enjoy, Hamptons are always very dependable. And so then we're going to do some really different things as we move on to day 4. We're going into Vermont. And Vermont has lots to offer. It is just really a lovely place. And one of the fun things to do is to do, and if you've been up in New England before, we know you do a lot of the typical things. So we're going to show you some things that are not so typical. And one of them is the Vermont Country Store that's really kind of fun. I would say this is sort of the predecessor to a Walmart. In a tiny little store, you can find anything. It is just hilarious, and people love walking around in this store. The hardest part about this little stop is getting people back on the bus. I warn you. They have clothing here. They have everything. It's just totally amazing. But in every little corner of this place, you can find something kind of fun. But then as we go in to White River Junction, this charming little town, we're going to show you some really beautiful old covered bridges, and they're just charming. Lots of interest in some of the covered bridges, and they're beautiful all year round. And then we're going to stop at the Simon Pierce Glass Factory, and this is something really different as well. This is a gentleman who really, he came from Ireland and learned a very different craft. They're blowing glass instead of cutting it. And he has created some amazing pieces. And he now has in New England a couple different studios. This one is his favorite. He's just a really charming man. But because it was fall, I picked out some of the fall things that are really beautiful. And he loves to do things with clear glass, but he also does a lot of colored glass as well. But it is really a fascinating stop. And we looked a little bit earlier of the water wheel on his shop is just really beautiful, and there's a little restaurant there as well. So he just does really classy things, and I look at this, and none of it is like the same kind of thing you see someplace else. And these trees are one of his signature kinds of things. It's very, very classy kind of things. We'll be staying again at a Hampton Inn in White River, and it again is a very typical Hampton. But people always ask, is there any place I can do laundry? So this is a spot that you can do that. So then we're going to stop at a place that is very different and very popular in New England this time of the year, is the Mount Washington Resort. Well, because the Mount Washington Resort runs about $500–600 a night, we're not staying there, but we're going to go see what the heck is so popular about this place. And because it's always sold out, and you look at the way it sits in the countryside there is absolutely stunning. It is really a beautiful place. And of course we're going to have lunch there, but we're also going to tour this property because there's a lot of very unique things about it as well. But they also, if you've been to Mackinac and sat on the grand porch there, you will enjoy using the porch here and looking out over the absolute gorgeous countryside of New Hampshire. It is just really, really beautiful. And, you know, really the same era, the early 1900s. This property is just really quite nice. Their dining room is spectacular, and they wanted everyone who dines to have a lovely view. So it's really very, very nice. So then we're going to make our way in this area to do something a little bit different. This is a cog rail train, and this is interesting because, of course, the engine is on the back of the train and not so much on the front. And it pushes the train up the hill, and it is probably one of the, it is one of the only trains like that in the United States, and quite possibly the world. So it really is very different. You'll get incredible views, but really a very unique experience, and it's just really a fun thing to do. So of course you're going up into some of the really beautiful areas of New Hampshire that you're not going to get to see any other way. Train buffs absolutely love this. It is really a unique experience. So then we're going to go into North Conway Grand Hotel. And this is the place we're going to spend 2 nights because it just is a really beautiful place. And you'll enjoy this. It's kind of lodgy in a way, but it really fits in with the atmosphere of being in the trees in a very remote area, and it's just very comfortable and lovely any time of the year, but it's just beautiful, especially in the fall. So you do have an opportunity to enjoy really lovely accommodations here, and again, we're going to be here for a couple of nights, so you will really enjoy. And don't forget to bring your swimwear, because people do like to get in the pool and walk a little bit, and especially a pool like this is just so relaxing. It's just lovely. Well, not very far from this, in the White Mountains, is a beautiful lake called Lake Winnipesaukee. And just years ago, I remember getting on this same boat, the Mount Washington, and it does this slow little trip around Lake Winnipesaukee. And the interesting thing, I think about this kind of resort area, that it's not crowded with tons of people everywhere. There's just small little lake home every once in a while around the lake. And you sit on the outside, you can see there's chairs along that upper deck, and just watch and enjoy one of the most relaxing, beautiful afternoons with absolutely gorgeous trees. It is really beautiful. It's a beautiful lake, and just a wonderful way to enjoy a relaxing probably hour and a half, and just kind of transport you into like another world. It's really fun. And then there's a lovely little town called Wolfboro, and it's just a real fun little place that you can walk around. There's lots of little galleries, lots of fun little places for lunching, and it's just fun. It's a fun little place, and it's very compact, and it's very, very well known up in this area as being the place to be for an afternoon. So we had to join everyone else, but it's got a little harbor here as well, so there's just lots of activity and lots of fun things to enjoy. Cute little gift shops to pick up some fun little memorabilia, and just an interesting, clean, little pristine place. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to be heading toward Maine, and we'll go to Ogunquit. And on our way to Ogunquit, we're going to stop at a little town called Kennebunkport. And maybe some of you've heard of that. It was the home of the Bush family, and they have their compound right outside of Kennebunkport. But here you see all kinds of interesting little places. Every time I come through this place, I always think I'm going to find a place to put one of these little wind things under the bus. They're just, those little windmills that look so charming. And when I saw that picture, I thought, I know what the name of that place is. I wonder if they ship, but I probably not. But it's just a fun place, and we're going to tour around this area, and then we'll head into Ogunquit. And this is an area, Ogunquit and Kennebunkport, and this area where they do a lot of lobster, fishing, I guess, but they use lobster traps. And so it's kind of fun to get out on one of those lobster boats and learn how they pull the lobsters in, and how you enjoy a little bit of that. And we'll go up by Cape Nettic and see one of the lighthouses up along that area that is really fun. And this is just probably one of the most photographed lighthouses in America. It's a beautiful spot. And then we'll get on that little lobster boat, learn a little bit about lobstering if they bring up one of the traps, and you'll see one of the lobsters. And then, of course, we're going to do a clam bake, and which includes lobster. So you'll get a little sampling of some of the fish that is from all over this region, and it is really a lot of fun. The clam bakes are just fun, and everybody enjoys a little bit of lobster. So it is really great. One of the last places we're going to stay is Meadowmere, and it's just a lovely little resort as well. Very, very popular in New England, and just lovely accommodations here. It's just a really nice little place, a beautiful spot, and we'll enjoy our last night there, and then we'll head back into Boston. So round-trip airport transfers, round-trip air, 7 nights accommodations, lots of meals, admission to everything is all included, and that's all listed on your brochure. And again, some of the things. Now, we don't include, and this is domestic, so on domestic flights you do have fees for baggage, but we don't include it only because very frequently on a trip like this, sometimes a couple will only take one suitcase. And so we don't want to be charging for something that you're not going to use. So, but we let you know what that is on the front side, and that will all be in your travel documents. And so everything that is listed there is on your brochure, so you can take a look at that. A lovely little trip that is just a very fun experience of New England in the fall. So, of course, this is prime season, and a perfect time for you to sit back and enjoy. It is really a beautiful, beautiful experience. So we want you to get your reservations in early to make sure that you enjoy. So I'll turn the lights on for just a few seconds and see if anybody has any questions that I can answer about this tour.
How many do you need for that one?
Probably about the same, 2025. So
That's nice and manageable number.
yes, it is. It really is quite nice. So it works out really well. And people are enjoying small numbers on cruise right now. It's very typical. So any questions?
One of the women that left asked if they could upgrade their flight.
Yes, they always. So the question was, can you upgrade flights primarily internationally? People are thinking about that, but when you want to do that, you just let us know. And Erin will connect you with the staff person in our office that handles the air. And so the two of you will talk back and forth as to what the cost of that is. The thing on occasion that happens is if you would call Erin and then Erin calls you and then Erin calls back to our office, it doesn't work really well. It's best if my staff can visit with you personally. So if anybody has any interest in doing that, we can tell you what the additional costs are for that. So.